Do you or your school have policies that you have to follow regarding the safe, healthy, legal, and ethical uses of technology or media by the students?
We do and we don't. All of our students sign an acceptable agreement plan at the beginning of the school year. I'm just saying that they're going to obviously, be good on the computer, look at appropriate school things. As far as equitable access, unfortunately, we don't. It's kind of a work in progress.
So what technology do you have for the students right now? What do they have access to?
Students have access to pretty much a lot of stuff. We're implementing Chromebooks in our district. It's a nice lightweight device to take. They can access anything, anywhere. We use smart boards in our classroom. We use slates a lot of times. That actually helps with some of the students who can't physically get out of their chair
What
to
is
go
slate?
to the smart board. It's like a little gray tablet. And you look at it and can basically control your computer through it, just like a device. It's almost like an iPad, similar. We're also using a lot of iPad apps, Splashtop, Doceri, a couple different apps. Because again, students who maybe can't get out of their chair to go touch the smartboard, it's in their hands, so they can participate.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Are the digital age communication and collaboration tools used to promote diversity, understanding, and global awareness?
Oh, I think so. Right now, in our district, we've just kind of adopted, Google Docs, and that provides collaboration amongst anywhere. We've had kids actually, go to contact people in other countries to get to know them a little bit better, do like kind of the pen pal thing back and forth. And we're also going to more of a Skype, so we can actually see what kids are doing and experience in other parts of the world.
That's awesome. So how do you as a teacher find these resources for, you can't just go to the internet and say I'm looking for a pen pal for a 10-year-old.
Oh, exactly. There's a couple different programs out there, that you have to pay for them. But a lot of times it's just almost word of mouth. I belong to different users groups, different listservs. Sometimes, we just kind of put little things out there. Hey, I would like to connect with somebody, in China. And usually 9 times out of 10, there is some connection. Universities are also great. I've contacted Wright State, UD. I've worked with several friends and companies to help me with this.
What do you or the school consider issues in equality or availability for students in regards to the access to media, equipment, and resources in the school and online, at school, or at home?
That's a big issue in my district right now. We're trying to make it all equal. Right now, you could walk into a second grade class and they have 4 computers. You could walk across the hall and they have 1. So we're actually doing tech audits within our district to make sure everything is equal. We all have a smart board, we all have a projector. Just when kids are going from classroom to classroom, that access is there. On the access at home, that's a different ballgame. We're pretty lucky in our district to have about 90% of our students actually having access to technology and internet, but the 10%, they don't have that. So we're going through almost like a library checkout program. We have laptops, tablets, iPads, and a lot of the programs pre-recorded on those devices, and then the children can just check them out as a library book. To take it a step further, we've also, any times you order new textbooks, you also get a little extra DVD copies and the lessons online. So if they have access to some type of computer, either online or borrowing one of ours, they're going to still have the access at home. And there's always the print resources as well.
My name is Clay Young, and I am here to interview a high school special education teacher who implements technology to help educate her students. The teacher did not wish to be named for this interview for undisclosed reasons. So let's get started. Ma'am, do you or your school have policies to follow regarding the safe, health, legal, and ethical uses of technology or media by the students?
The school internet availability could be considered fairly limited compared to neighboring districts. Although students have login capabilities and access to the internet, they are lacking the capability to access any email function. This limits their ability to communicate information electronically during school hours. By the district trying to be safe, legal, and ethical, they may have lost key components to the true purpose of the technology.
How do you monitor students while working in the building or their assignments done at home?
Students use the computers while they're in my classroom or in a computer lab in the building, all very closely monitored by multiple teachers.
How do you or the school consider issues in equity, availability for students, all students, in regards to access to media, equipment, and resources in the school and online at school or at home.
If students need specialized technology to access the curriculum, they legally have the right to access to that technology. The cost of the needed technology should not be an issue.
Where do students access the media, technology, equipment, and resources they need to complete assignments or projects?
In classrooms, first of all, and I have 7 in my classroom, in the computer lab in the building, by using traveling netbook carts, the use of the smartboard, or by using an iPad. This technology is available at school, and when assignments are sent home to complete, the teacher has to hope that the student has the technology available at their house. Access to the internet is the most difficult accommodation the district has to overcome. Being a teacher, in many ways, I have to be a hustler to obtain what my students need. The diversity in the special education classroom is very wide. What one student may need could cost $500 and be so specialized it can't be used for any other student.
So do you worry about copyrighted works in the classroom?
I do. I worry for the teacher and the student. A lot of times as educators, we just think it's out there, we're using it for an educational reason, it's okay. 9 times out of 10 it is. With children, we have to just teach and teach and teach and ingrain that if it's out there, they can't just snag it off the internet. It's so easy to do that now, but I think if we just, really tell them that, it's out there, think about it, you can always use it and get ideas, but it's not right to just go and take something. You wouldn't just go take something off out of somebody's locker. Same thing, you just can't go off the internet and take it and say it's your own.
Okay, so I know that you're teaching quite a bit. You just said that you do a lot of teaching to show them that it's incorrect or that's wrong. What do you use to inform students about copyright and fair use? In several of our classes, we've watched that YouTube video that's made from the Disney clips.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very interesting, but as an adult, I had to watch it the first time twice, I'm sure, to make sure I understood what was being said because it's so pieced together.
Mm-hmm.
What do you use to inform students about copyright and fair use?
We've used that video before in class, but like you said, it's kind of difficult to understand. So we watch it, the kids kind of laugh, they see all their Disney characters, but then we have a thoughtful conversation as to, this legally, you can't do it. If it's not yours, don't take it. We try to watch lots of short little YouTube videos, short little clips to get the point across. Again, we don't want to scare our students, but we want to give them worst case scenario. You might flunk out of a class in college. You might, have to pay fines. We try to look at worst case scenarios as well.
Awesome. Do you have any best practice examples to prevent breaking fair use or open source rules?
That's kind of a gray area. Again, middle school kids, high school kids, they get it. It's just through discussion. I think you can always say if you're going to go to a conference or you're going to go to a party and you're going to say, I did this, you better make sure that you actually created this, that you didn't steal this or borrow this from somebody else. Again, I think just with this, it's kind of a hard area, but lots of good examples, lots of worst case scenarios. Kids eventually, they do get it.
Do you or the school worry about copyright works in your classroom?
I guess I should give more attention to copyright laws. Not saying there is an issue, I should just consider the law more often in general.
Do you have any best practice examples to prevent breaking fair use or open source rules?
For some, abiding by copyright laws could be difficult or even considered a risk worth taking for a special education teacher to better ensure their student is learning.
What strategies or policies do you or the school use to achieve equitable access to digital tools, technology, and resources for students with special needs?
A lot of our special needs students, what we do is we do have, a lot of times we're lucky to have one-on-one aides. Potentially if you have somebody that's vision impaired, that's mobility impaired, we try to offer different technology programs, and doing any things off, making the screen a little bit larger. With our Chromebooks, we actually have an app that you can push out that will read the screen to children. So maybe if a middle school student's reading at a 3rd or 4th grade level, we can have it read to them as well. So we're trying to, to get anything that they can read it to them, just make it more a little bit apt so they're going to use it.
How do you make sure that students who need that are using it and the ones who don't need it aren't using it?
Right now, we have policies that are pushed out, so various groups that are in special ed or inclusion rooms, they have that option, the regular ed child doesn't.
Okay,
But if they need it, we can always push it out later.
okay. What challenges do you face when you're attempting to create multimedia learning experiences, or when you're assigning a multimedia project? The kind of information we're looking for is, do you have enough hardware? Which we know how right now we're just kind of stepping up to the right amount of hardware. Do you have the necessary software, the necessary tools? Are you able to find open source items that do exactly what you need them to do? How challenging is it to create those type of learning experiences?
It's pretty challenging, to be honest. A lot of our labs are equipped with things like iMovie, Movie Maker, different tools like that at school. We try to encourage students to go to different open source, and free music, so they're not actually taking, copyrighted music and putting it into their programs. It's difficult though. It takes a lot of money, and a lot of times schools don't have a lot of money to work with, so it's just budget constraints, and you basically have one lab that has everything in it, and you just take turns.
So is it one lab for the district or one lab for each school?
Ours is one lab per each school.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's like the most high tech, and then we have other labs of maybe things that aren't as quite up to par.
That's still pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find it challenging, students with hardware? Do you have to monitor those students for abuse to the hardware, the software, the digital tools? You've got Chromebooks that you can borrow. Are they coming back damaged? Are the kids understanding the severity of how much it costs and how important it is that they take good care of it?
Mm-hmm. Knock on wood, they are. We have the kids are so excited to be using this, they would prefer digital textbooks over regular textbooks. So if you always say that, hey, you're going to have to go back to paper, pencil, or regular book, that kind of instills that. We're going to take care of this. We also really adopted a BYO program, and we found that if students are bringing in their own device, a lot of times students are actually paying for this themselves. So they are taking care of this because they don't want to go home to mom and dad and say, I broke my laptop.
So you are allowing them to bring their own tablets to school?
Yes, and encouraging it. Not every day, not every class, but when it makes sense, and that goes back to the equal access. If kids can't, their handwriting is terrible. They just maybe physically can't write. We have disabilities. This is a nice tool that's helping them as well.
Awesome.
And they don't feel out of place because other kids are using that. Doesn't matter if they're special ed, if they're exceptionally brilliant. It meets both ends of the spectrum.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, Mrs.
You're welcome.
Ramos.
What strategies or policies do you or the school use to achieve equitable access to digital tools, technology, and resources for students?
Specialized software and tools are used to enable individual students the ability to either access technology or use technology to access individualized curriculum. IDEA funding is used to purchase specialized technological equipment that they need. This specialized equipment currently ranges from laptops, netbooks, iPads, simple one-switch communication devices called Big Mac, multiple choice communication devices such as GoTalks, switches like joysticks to access internet independently, and software such as WYNN, System 44, Read 180, Don Johnson Literature Libraries, Dragon Software, and Microsoft Word.
Do you have any best practice examples?
My overall best practice motto is figure out what the student needs and then figure out how to access it.